Okay, in this video I'm going to introduce you to fourth grade division and review some division terms and just talk about some things that will be important and helpful for you as you begin dividing in fourth grade. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write a division problem and then explain and define what the different numbers represent. And I'm going to write it a couple different ways. Okay, so this number, well, let me actually backtrack and tell you how you read this, this division equation. 163 divided by 4, which means there's a total of 163 of something, and it's going to be divided into groups of 4. So in a division equation, this is called your dividend. And it will be your front number. Whatever is being divided is the dividend. And the number of groups, or how many you're breaking it up into, is called your divisor. And one of the things I like to tell students when they're just learning about division is to think of the front number in your problem as being the number that gets to go in the house. That's what I call this, the house, and I know a lot of people call it the house. So that's just one strategy so that we don't put the numbers in the wrong location, because especially when you get into 5th grade and you're dividing sometimes smaller numbers by larger numbers, it can get really confusing. So in a division equation, this front number is the total that you have of something, okay? It's called the dividend, and this number is a divisor. That's how many you're going to break it into, how many groups of 4, okay? So one of the ways we teach division in 4th grade is partial quotients. And remember, the answer to a division problem is the quotient. So the way that we do this is we look at this number, the total, 163, and we say, how many 4s can go into this? Well, one of the ways you learned how to figure this out in 3rd grade with smaller numbers is you did repeated subtraction. Well, let me just show you what would happen if you used repeated subtraction with this. I say, okay, I'm going to do one group of 4. So I'm going to write one group of 4, and I'll put my 4 here. And I'm going to subtract, and by the way, you can do this. You can use this strategy. So I have to subtract. I can't take 4 from 3. That means I have to go to the tens place and get 10, and this becomes a 13. 13 minus 4 is 9, and 5. Well, I still have 159. I'll try another 4. 1 times 4, and I have 4. I do the same thing. I subtract. Oh, I still have 155. You can see that if I just keep subtracting 4s, I'm going to be here a while, and my line's going to go whoa, way down here. So there's got to be a faster way. And there is. So I'm going to show you it. So I'm going to write my problem again. And again, I'm going to remind you that what this is saying is how many 4s can go into 163. Or how many groups of 4 can I break my 163 total up into? So the first thing is I look at the largest digit, and it's 100. It's in the hundreds place. So I can think right away, I think of my multiples of 10. And what I mean by that is I think of 100. I think of 10. And, well, if it was a bigger number, I would think of 1,000. Okay? So the first thing I do is if I have a number that the largest place is 100s, I would start by saying 4 times 100. Can I do 4 times 100? Well, 4 times 1 I know is 4. 4 times 1, 1. So 4 times 100 is 400. Can I do that? No, I can't do that. That's way too big. So, excuse me. So now I can use what I know about 4 times 10. And let me explain the reason we start with 10, 100, or 1,000. It's simply because they are the easiest to multiply mentally, okay? Because it's just thinking of 1, the number by 1, and adding a 0 or 2 zeros or 3 zeros. So I can do 4 times 10 because that would be 40. So that's what I'm going to do. And how I write it here is I'm using 10 groups of 4. This is my partial quotient. It's going to be part of my answer. And I put it here, and I know 10 times 4 is 40. Now I subtract, because again, I'm trying to find out how many 4s can go into this. So each time I break it up and I find 10 groups or 3 groups or whatever I do here, I have to keep doing it until 4 can't go into it anymore. 3 minus 0 is 3. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 1. Okay, can I still break this apart? Yeah, so let me just keep using my 10 times 4. And I will show you a faster way after this. Because some of you might already be saying, I think I know a faster way. So there is a faster way. So I'm going to do another 40. 3 minus 0 is 3. I can't take 4 from 2, so I have to go to the hundreds, and I take 100, which is 10 tens. That's why this becomes 12, because it's 12 tens. 12 minus 4 is 8. Well, I still have enough to do another 10 groups of 4. So that's what I'll do. And I'm circling, again, I'm going to keep telling you what I'm doing. I'm circling my partial quotients. So this is 40. And then I subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. 8 minus 4 is 4. Ooh, I think I'm almost done. And notice too that I'm putting my partial quotients right next to, so I can see that that 10 times 4, that 40 stands for 10 groups of 4. 10 groups of 4. I can do another 10 group of 4 and get 40. Now I'm subtracting, and I have less than my divisor. So that means this is what's called a remainder. It's what's left over. All right? I can't do any more 4s. So I have to count up my partial quotients, my 10, my 10, my 10, my 10. And this one's pretty easy because they are 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40. So my quotient, it's not partial anymore because I added these up, is 40, and there is 3 left over. Okay? So there can be 40 groups of 4. And you know what? I don't know if you've learned this yet, but I'm going to tell you a little trick. And if it confuses you, that's okay. We'll do some more. To check to see if this is right, because division is the inverse operation of multiplication, you can take these numbers, multiply them. 4 times 4 equals 16, and add my 0. I get 160, and add my remainder, and that equals 163. So that tells me I have the right answer. Okay, so I'm going to show you an even faster way. For those people that were going, come on, Miss Ma'am, there's something faster. You were right, and I'm going to show you. So again, we have 163 is a dividend, 4 is our divisor. But this time, I'm going to think about what I know of my 4 facts, my multiples of 4. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I know I can't do hundreds. Okay, I know I can't do hundreds. I already found that out. Okay, I'm going to try tens. But listen to what I'm going to do. I'm going to list up here, make a little room here. I'm going to skip count, so I'm saying my multiples of 4, until I get to one that is close to 16. And this is the reason. I'm skip counting by 4 times 1 of something, one group of that, or 2 groups of that. But I can use that information to get close to my tens. Let me just do it because I think I'm being confusing as I say it. So, 1, 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. Oh, 4 times 4 is 16. What can I do with that information? Well, what if, instead of 4 times 4, I did 4 times 40? If I know that 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 40, I look at my basic fact, which is 16, and because this is actually not 4 times 4 ones, but 4 times 4 tens, I'm going to have 16 tens, or 160. Oh boy, this is going to be much faster. So I take this 40 groups of 4, which is 160, and I subtract, and I'm there. It's not going to always be that fast. But for this problem, it was. So now my partial quotient is actually my entire quotient. So it's, again, I put my answer up here, and there is a remainder of 3. So look at let's just review what we did. We started by talking about the front number in a division equation is the total. It represents the total of whatever you're talking about, and it's called the dividend. The number that is going into the dividend, or if you have a total of something and you're breaking it into groups of 4, that's the divisor. When you write it like this, or when you see it like this, this is your front number. Your front number gets to be in the house. Your divisor has to stay in the cold. Any way that makes it easier for you to remember that this number goes in the house, whatever trick you need to follow, do it. Now this one we were going to just do one group of 4 at a time, and we quickly found out that that would take a really long time. So then we talked about instead multiplying the 4 by 10 and having 10 groups of 4 and just going with 10 groups of 4 until we couldn't do it anymore and we had a remainder. And then I told you how you could check your problem by taking your quotient and multiplying it by your divisor, okay? And when you get that answer, if you have a remainder, adding it, and it should equal the dividend. And then I shared a trick to make it even faster. If you know your multiplication facts, or if you simply skip count whatever your divisor is until you can come up with a number that you can use by multiplying it by 10, if your dividend is large enough. This all depends on your dividend, but you can get there much faster by doing that. Okay, so that is our first video on just talking about and introducing fourth grade division.